Alright, YouTube. Today I wanted to make a video on a few things you want to think about and consider before getting a large reptile of any sort, snake, lizard, doesn't matter, any animal really. You want to think about their care and what it's going to take before you get that animal. With reptiles, I like to set up the cage before I get the animals, usually. Sometimes I'm a little bit anxious, but never let them sit in a temporary enclosure for too long. First thing is you want to do your research, whether it's online, books. A lot of the books out there now are outdated because everything's just being put online, so nobody's really putting out reptile care books anymore. You can find anything you need on the internet. So go do your research. If you're going to get a black throat, look up black throat monitor, look up the temperatures, look up the cage size requirements for an adult. You want to think about always. You want to think about the adult size of the animal. Sure, you can house them in something smaller while they're younger, but eventually down the road, you're going to need something huge. It's usually going to be something custom built, so you got to think about these things. Think about the time you're going to put in with that animal. Think about what you want out of that animal. Do you want just a display animal where it doesn't really matter exactly how tame it is, or whether or not you're going to be able to handle it? Do you want a really docile pet to lounge around the house with? If that's what you want, you got to think about the species of monitor you're going to get, or snake for that matter. Snakes are a little bit easier, but I can get into that in another video. Um, Blackthroats for, calm monitors, in my opinion. Blackthroats, Asian water monitors, Bosque monitors, or Savannah monitors. It's the same thing, guys. Um, Quince monitors. I've even known some crocodile monitors to be good. Iguanas can be very good tame pets for lounge lizards. I mean, it just depends on how much time you're willing to put in with that animal. Something like an Argus monitor, which I've got up in the top of this enclosure here, probably not going to get that out of it. Not saying it's impossible, it's just not likely. It's just the nature of that species. It's not something you're most likely going to get out of an Argus monitor. So anyways, I'll move on to a few more things. Like I said, you're going to want to think about the cage. I always like to set up the cage, make sure my lights are getting the correct temperatures on the basking spot, make sure the temperature gradient between cool and hot sides is correct. Before you put the monitor in there, you don't want to have to you don't want to set up your cage, put the monitor in there, and then have to try to adjust things while he's in there. Or have to put him in a temporary cage and move him back and forth, especially when you're just getting that monitor home and trying to get him adapted to his new enclosure. You don't want to disturb him a whole lot, so it's best to have everything set up, running smoothly before you put your monitor in the cage. Uh, Another thing you want to think about is the adult size. Am I going to be able to handle this thing 10 years down the road? Am I going to be able to handle the space requirements, the food? Monthly cost of feeding my reptiles is astronomical. It's a lot more than even I expected. And I've been, taking care of reptiles my whole life. I'm an experienced reptile keeper. So um, it can get quite ridiculous, especially if you really care about your monitor or snake or whatever it is that you're housing. If you really care about them, you want to offer them a varied diet. You don't want to give them the same thing day in, day out. You wouldn't like eating pizza 7 days a week for the rest of your life. So don't do it to your monitors. That's just my personal opinion. I try to feed my monitors everything from bugs, chicks, eggs, ground turkey, pretty much anything that's animal protein that they'll eat. And I try to feed them the healthiest of bugs, dubia roaches. I'm breeding them myself so that they get the least amount of chitin, most amount of protein, calcium, all that good stuff. And then you're gonna also want to dust. Going off on a bit of a tangent, but you're gonna want to dust your bugs, your feeder bugs, with a calcium and vitamin dust. But anyways, I'll get into that in another video. Sorry. Um, I'm gonna open up Odin's cage here. And you can see he's going to come out to greet me. He's a little bit cage aggressive sometimes. You could probably hear him hissing. He's fine. I'm not worried about him all. I might get tail whipped. Not a big deal. He knows me though. And that's because I spend countless hours doing this, taming him, letting him smell me, petting him, trying to get him calm in his cage. He's even calmer when he's outside of his cage. He's really good outside of his cage, but he's kind of hungry right now. But again, these are things you're gonna want to think about. Don't bite my fingers. No, 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 no. You relax. You relax. These are things you got to think of when you're gonna get a monitor. Are you scared of this? Are you worried about getting bit? I'm not worried about getting bit. It would suck really bad from a monitor this size, but if you're fearful of your monitor, you're gonna most likely keep him in the cage 100% of the time. He's gonna get kind of crazy. He's never gonna want to come out if that's all he knows is the inside of his cage. He's not gonna feel safe coming out. He's not gonna feel safe being handled. So you got to socialize him. You got to get him used to you and your family members and even pets. I've got 2 dogs that are sitting outside right now that I'm working on socializing him with. Sorry, I'm sweating. It's hot as hell in here. What else do you want to think of? But, you know, expenses. I touched on food a little bit already on how much they can eat. They're daily eaters. You know, once to adult size, you can feed them every other day. That's fine. But for the most part, they're daily eaters, and you're going to want to feed them daily, and that gets expensive. Their lighting gets expensive as far as electricity bills goes. You know, just heating the cage. And then you're also going to want to think about the time that you're going to be able to put in with them. My daily routine with these guys takes a minimum of 2 hours. That's changing water on both these. I've got a bearded dragon and a big snake, big red tail boa. That takes a good amount of time in itself. Then I socialize them. I do this. I sit with them. You know, I pet them. I take them out of the cage. I let them run around the house. You're being a jerk on camera. Why are you doing that? Cleaning the cage daily. These guys take big, fat, juicy dumps. So be ready to scoop that up. Be ready to sniff it. Smell it in your house. You're going to smell it. It'll key you in time to clean the cage. It's usually a daily thing. The water changing, got to be daily. It's got to be daily. They like to defecate in their water. They like to, even if they're not defecating in their water, chances are they're defecating in their cage, they're walking over it, then they're going in their water. You want to drink water that you've pooped in? I guarantee you these guys don't either. So, you know, just think about these things before you get a monitor or any other reptile. If you guys have any questions, hit the like, subscribe button, hit me up. I try to answer all the questions that are asked. YouTube channel is kind of new right now, so I've only got like 3 subscribers. So please come on, subscribe and ask me a question. I'll do my best to answer it. Thanks, you guys.